Hello and welcome to Flap TV, where the region's largest Facebook group dedicated to political discussion jumps from your computer screen to your television screen. Our guest this episode, on the left, John Richard of Leominster, and on the right, Lou Marino of Fitchburg. Issue 1, August 8th, the deadline passed for submitting nomination papers in both Leominster and Fitchburg. Alex Vera, a Fitchburg resident who is currently facing felony charges for his role in a shooting at a Worcester strip club, has submitted the 50 required signatures to appear on the ballot as a candidate for mayor of Fitchburg. He has a court hearing set for these charges on October 3rd. He has been inaccessible to the media, has made no public statements, has no social media presence, no campaign organization, and we've been unable to find anyone that can even confirm that he's even a resident of Fitchburg. So he got his 50 signatures to get on the ballot. Does that 50 signatures mean that he should, that Mayor DiNatale has an obligation to stand on a stage and debate him one-on-one, Cindy?
Absolutely not. It's hard to even take this guy seriously, to be honest. He's got no campaign going, and with pending charges, you would think he would just drop out, make a statement, drop out, and try it again at a better date, but no, absolutely not.
John?
I don't know, I've always viewed debates more about the candidate who is actually doing the debating than the one he is debating against. So this is an opportunity for Mayor DiNatale to reconfirm with his constituents what he's about, what he stands for, and show his commitment regardless of who may be against him.
Lou?
As somebody who's run for office before, he got the required signatures. We don't know how he got them, and as John said, it's a way for the mayor to reconnect with the people of Fitchburg, to let them know that he's their candidate. And I agree with both John and Cindy that if he's not going to put a Facebook presence out there, like I'm running for state senate, I have my Facebook presence out there. I've been out there. He should either just drop out of the race and let the mayor use it as a debate, a platform to reconnect.
Michael?
Look, the city charter in Fitchburg says you collect 50 signatures and they're certified and they're verified, you can get on the ballot. And it's the city clerk's job to determine whether he's, in that city, or he lives in that city, and he gets his signatures in. It is what it is. I think the problem will take care of itself. I mean, it's if he's truly not a serious candidate going up against a very strong candidate and a very popular mayor, problem will take care of itself. I think in the long term, we've talked about this on a previous episode, you want to change the charter, Okay, there's mechanisms in place, it's not easy, but to change that charter for the city of Fitchburg if you want to weed out some of these folks. But he did what he was supposed to do, and he jumped through the hoops he was supposed to jump through, as limited as they were. So let him get on the stage, and like John said, opportunity for Steve DiNatale to present himself to the voters.
Well, the charter gave him the right to be on the ballot, but the charter doesn't say anything about having the right to be in a debate.
True, but he is a confirmed candidate on the ballot. Yeah. Therefore, you go by what the traditional rules of that particular debate are. And so, is it ballot candidates? I mean, I know personally, because Leominster in recent history has had some write-in candidates, and certain debates have rules about whether a write-in candidate counts as a candidate, but definitely somebody on the ballot counts as a candidate for all these debates that the newspapers would sponsor and whatnot. So, look, if he's on the ballot, he's on the ballot, and if traditionally the debates are open to people listed on the ballot, that's to me.
John said that it's an opportunity for Mayor DiNatale to reconnect with the voters. In fairness, though, there's many ways for Mayor DiNatale to reconnect with voters. Dean Mazzarella, who was on this show, said on this show that the best way of campaigning is doing the job. There are different talk shows, there are different venues or social media that Mayor DiNatale can use to connect with the voters and make his case for re-election. We have no idea who this person is. All we know is he's facing felony charges in regard to his shooting. Do we really should the mayor really submit himself to standing on a stage one-on-one, having no idea what he's in for? This is the mayor of the city.
Well, yes, because it's not about Mr. Vera. It's about the mayor, who is also up for election in this case. So even though it seems like a slam dunk, you've got a guy who's been completely disconnected from the public. He hasn't made an effort that we've seen. Mayor DiNatale is also on the stand in a way, and he kind of owes it to the people, if the people expect to see him there, to engage them.
Mayor DiNatale was a guest here on our very first episode, having no idea what he was getting into, right? But he had the guts to show up here. I'm not sure that I would put the expectation, this is just me personally, I'm not sure I would put the expectation to go into that debate stage totally blind as to what he's in for. Cindy?
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think this guy really needs to, he needs to get out there to the public and let them know where he stands on any issue besides waiting for a debate. Nobody's heard from him. Nobody knows what he's thinking. Is he really taking this serious? Anybody can get 50 signatures to get on a ballot. I think I'd like to see more from him before I would, if I was Steve, I wouldn't do it.
Mayor DiNatale's been doing this a long time. Let's not go out of our way to protect him or try to put him up on a pedestal. So he's been doing a very good job for a long time. I think he'll know how to handle what comes across.
And I think the reason we probably haven't heard from him is he's probably still in the county jail or being held without bail or something. That could explain why he hasn't made statements or hasn't been heard from or anything like that.
No, he made bail and he was able to get down to the city clerk's office and submit his nomination papers, but that's really the only way we really know he's a real person is from the charges that he faces. You said that the rules of debates, who should make the rules of debates, Mike?
It would be the sponsoring organization of the debate.
Okay.
So in other words, there's ground rules set. I mean, for instance, with the presidential debates, we had the Presidential Debate Commission, and we went through all these various.
We don't have a debate commission in Fitchburg.
Well, that's true, but it would be whoever is sponsoring these debates that's
Should we
going to set
invite them
these
on
things
flap?
up. What's that?
Should we invite them on flap? The two of them?
The candidates?
Yeah, the two of them. Should we?
You know what? We should open up for any candidates that are on the ballot.
You know,
Should-
we had a show on ballot access and one of our previous shows and talking about weeding the field. And I know I went out on a limb talking about making a prediction on the mayor's race in Leominster and mayor's race and whether there would be one in Fitchburg, based solely on ballot access and being able to, and the differences in the two cities and being able to weed out those candidates. So in case any of you forgot it, look at that monitor right there, and we're gonna play that clip. So just to close this out, I don't think that there will be a contested race in Leominster this year. And
Never
there
know.
will be, and there
You never
will be
know.
one in Fitchburg.
You never know.
But I think a lot of it is, but a lot
Listen,
of it is the ballot access.
My motto has always been, you know this, Kevin, I campaign by doing.
And I'm not one to say I told you so, but I told you so. All about ballot access.
Sure. Change the charter.
We need to. You agree?
I agree.
Everyone on board?
Yep.
No, you're not agreeing. You think 50 signatures is enough to get on the ballot to be mayor of a city of 40,000 people and get you a ticket to the debate stage?
You know, I'm kind of on the fence of raising it a little bit to weed out the people who put in and then don't give the commitment. But I mean, if you're a citizen, you really have the right to do that.
I think 300 signatures at the least for mayor. That's a small commitment to show that you really are, entertaining this the correct way.
When I,
50,
When I ran for selectman in Chelmsford, it was 150 to get on the ballot, and Chelmsford's about just about the size of Fitchburg.
And where I agree with, I think everyone has the right to run, but part of running is qualifying for the ballot. And I don't think we should just say, well, anyone who wants to run automatically qualifies for a ballot and gets on a debate, and we keep lowering the bar and lowering the bar. Part of running is being able to show that you're a viable candidate and that you have somewhat of an organization and a commitment.
And that's why the 50 signatures seems really low. You can get that in an hour.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Issue 2, Governor Baker has submitted a bill to the state legislature to bring back the sales tax holiday weekend, which first started in 2004. This year, however, legislative leaders are hesitant to approve it, citing revenue shortfalls that have created a substantial gap in the state's budget. However, the governor argues that the holiday gives a much-needed infusion of business into the Commonwealth. Should the legislature approve a sales tax holiday weekend for 2017, given the current budget crisis, John Richard?
To be honest, the research is not showing that there's any tangible benefit to doing the sales tax holidays to begin with. The Federal Reserve used Massachusetts specifically to gauge their positive opinion of it because Massachusetts has a wide berth of purchases that it applies to. But they haven't been able to follow that up with a positive impact to the economy to match.
Lou?
I will have to disagree with you on that because it's one issue that I'm tackling running for state senate. I had a conversation with Bruce Tarr's office the other day about this, and also the Mass Retailers Association. And they have the Mass Retailers Association did a study, and it's on their website, that 2 years ago when they had the last tax holiday, the businesses in Massachusetts were able to bring themselves in an extra $5 million. So it does make an infusion of money to businesses in Massachusetts. It does encourage businesses in this area of Massachusetts being close to New Hampshire.
Michael?
Yeah, this is an issue I get cranky about on both sides because honestly, I think I've always thought it was gimmicky. I mean, it's like if you get a sale flyer and say, save 5%, save 6.25%, does that make you jump out of your chair and have to go buy a TV? It doesn't for me. I don't know about anybody else. I always thought these sales tax holidays were kind of gimmicky, and it's typical like red tape to throw out to people. So yeah, look at this. We care about you. Now at the same time, this is why I say I'm cranky about both sides. At the same time, it's typical Massachusetts legislature. Being just being out of touch. This is a very popular thing that comes through every year, and just totally out of touch to just dismiss it out of hand like that. If indeed they're going to do that, I mean, I do think so. Again, both sides of this issue kind of irk me for whatever reason.
Cindy?
I personally, I'm kind of with Michael on that. If you look at how much business is actually coming in, are they actually getting new business, or is this somebody's thinking about, okay, I'm going to buy a new washer and dryer. Oh, well, in 2 weeks there's a sales tax free weekend. I'll just wait until then to do it. Are you getting any new business, or are you just getting delayed sales? The fact that it applies to online purchases, so anybody can go online and do the same shopping as they always do. Am I really bringing in any retail business to my mom and pop shops downtown? I don't know how much it really helps, in this budget crisis. I know it sounds weird because I don't like taxes, but I don't know that it's really necessary in this particular situation.
It's kind of easy for us to say it's no big deal because we can just shoot 10 minutes over the border, right?
Well, that's true, Yeah, and we do, obviously that's an issue, yeah, and we all take advantage of that, so yeah, you got a point there.
And that's actually what the studies have shown, is that it's not encouraging additional spending, it's causing a shifting of the time period where people actually spend, especially for big dollar items like electronics and washer dryers.
Yeah.
They're just holding off, or they're buying a couple of weeks earlier than they
So
had
it's not
planned.
really a new purchase, it's just, I'll just
Exactly.
wait a couple weeks and save a few bucks,
Exactly.
yeah.
Kevin, the Massachusetts Form 1 tax return clearly says that you're supposed to declare those out-of-state purchases. What are you doing? What are you
This
trying
is
to tell
true.
us? That we go 10 minutes over the border, we escape that? What are you trying to say?
That's fake news.
Fake news?
Alternative tax.
Yeah.
We all
I
file
think-
those.
Oh, they're ganging up on you here.
No,
Come defend the taxpayer, Lou.
We need to actually make this a law so people can expect it every single year. And not only do we need to make this a law, we need to take this in conjunction and roll back the state
That's what I
sales
would like to
tax.
see, I'd see a full rollback.
And I've been saying the Mass Retailers Association has two ballot questions. They want to roll the tax back to either 4% or 5%. I don't see 4% being helpful. I can live with 4% or 5%. I can live with a 5% sales tax and have a tax holiday as law in both of them together. I think will help us keep money in our taxpayers' pockets and give us a little bit of relief.
Well, of course, retailers love this. I mean, it focuses all their income in a short period of time, so it looks better on their books. But are they actually stimulating the economy is the question you want to ask.
What you're doing is encouraging the taxpayer in Massachusetts, if you roll back their sales tax and give them a holiday for a couple days during the year, you're encouraging them not to go 10 minutes up the road, but to actually spend the money right here in their communities at their mom and pop stores.
That's a good point.
Doesn't this also have a disproportionate positive effect on local businesses that deal in smaller margins where they can't afford to have the big sales, but if they can put a sale and couple it on top of a sales tax holiday, that this could help mom and pop, independent owned businesses?
Yes, definitely, especially those mom and pop. They might be teetering on a good year or bad year. This may put them, make it a good year for them.
But it's one weekend.
Yeah.
One weekend out of
It's really not that huge of an impact.
So
And
out of
again,
the
is it
one
really
weekend-
getting the foot traffic on that weekend?
So they say, so the legislature's saying we can't do it because we're in a budget crisis, so we can't lose that sales tax revenue. How much do we lose for sales tax revenue because of the weekend?
I think it was 24 million,
Yeah, it's a
28
good
million.
amount.
28 million,
28
yeah,
million.
so it's up there.
How much did the legislative pay raises cost us that they
18.
passed?
18 million.
That's a big chunk of it, right? They can start
Yeah.
there. Repeal the legislative pay raises.
Yes,
and,
I'm all
institute
for that.
the sales tax
Absolutely.
holiday.
And just one point on that, they can't give the taxpayer a sales tax holiday or a tax break, but they can come and take $67,000 for travel allowances and per diems all at once. So you're hitting the taxpayer twice. Not only do they get that, they also get a 4% raise annually per year.
It was pretty good optics on the governor's part to put the sales tax holiday at the time when we can talk about legislative pay raises too,
Yes.
right? At the same time, the
Yes.
reports came out on these per diems.
And just one final thing, talking to Bruce Tarr's office, and I'm meeting with him Monday. This is the fifth time he's tried to get this passed as a law.
Very good. We're going to need to take a break. We'll be back in 1 minute. Stay with us. Arizona Senator John McCain sent shockwaves through the Senate chamber recently when he voted no on a Republican plan to repeal the Affordable Care Act without having a replacement for the landmark health care law passed by President Obama in 2010. After 8 years of calling for its demise, a Republican-controlled Congress led by a Republican in the White House has been unable to come to an agreement amongst themselves on how to proceed. So, Lou, if you were Paul Ryan or Mitch McConnell, what would be your game plan at this point?
I would say that we have to work to make compromise. Senator McCain was just probably doing what his constituents asked him to do. And that's what his job is to serve his constituents, not to serve Paul Ryan or Mitch McConnell. If I get elected to the state senate, that's who I'm going to serve, is my constituents, not lobbyists, not anybody else, but the people who have put me in that position to do my job. And it's going to be every day that I want to, every vote I take, I'm going to say, how is this going to impact them? And it doesn't just impact my constituents, it impacts everybody across the Commonwealth. And that's another thing I got to think about. And I have friends on the other side of the aisle, so I think we can work together. And I think that they need to work together to make, not just build friendships, but to build bridges to come up with a compromise that works for everybody.
Michael?
The problem is that over the last, now we're going on 9 years, the Republicans in Congress have shown no desire to work together to solve anything in this area, in the area of healthcare. They've been on the attack and on the defensive or on the offensive from day one on this healthcare issue. What McCain did is an excellent advertisement for term limits, because this is the one time in his Senate career, this is one part of his Senate career, he's not beholden to special interests, he's not beholden to Mitch McConnell or Paul Ryan. He can actually vote, like you said, Lou, what his constituents maybe want him to vote. But, this was offered for compromise back when this was first rolled out in 2009. And there's just been this forever fighting against any progress in the area. And thank you to President Trump. Thank you for Congress for showing that, in Joe Biden's words, the repeal and replace was a bunch of malarkey. They had no intention of repealing and replacing anything. They had the intention of a scorched earth campaign, and they're so incompetent that they can't even pull that off.
And just
Well, hold on, we gotta, let's go around the room first. We just learned that Michael's cranky more than just a sales tax holiday, but, okay, Cindy.
I think I agree that they've had 7, 8, 9 years to do something different. Obviously, they haven't. Obamacare is, I think it's a failure. A lot of things that I've read on it, I know others will disagree. Something needs to be done with it, and if we can't come up with a plan, then we need to wait until the Democrats are willing to work with the Republicans. It's going to take a two-party system to get this fixed. There's no way one party is going to be able to do it, and the rest of the country is going to be like, oh, this is wonderful. They've got to come together and work, and I don't care who's to blame. There's a lot of blame to go around on all sides. They've got to come together and figure it out. If it were me, I would leave it alone right now, and I'd go to tax reform. That's what I
John.
would do.
That's a good point. Now, what should Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan do first is retire, leave it to the big boys. Anyone who's interacted with me on the forums or in real life has known I'm very much of a healthcare is a natural right kind of guy. So more to what Cindy says, the only way we're going to accomplish this is bipartisan. We have to get representation from both sides. We have to cut out the lobbyists entirely, because to this point, they're a lot of the reason why healthcare has been failing. If we can come together, both sides of the party, and take the money out, come up with a plan that works for everybody. If we're going to keep doing healthcare as a profit system, we have to do it in a way that's fiscally responsible. And you're not going to do that if one party holds all the chips.
Well, talk about one party holding all the chips. You know what we've seen, really what we've seen. Since 2010, the Republicans have voted 57 times to repeal the Affordable Care Act. 57 times while President Obama was in office, they voted to repeal the Affordable Care Act. But now that they control both houses of Congress and the White House, they haven't voted once, because now that they have to own the solution, now that the onus is on them to come up with something, they are showing themselves that they have no ideas, that they have no alternative, that they are a party of no, and they are proving what the old Speaker of the House, Sam Rayburn, said, that any donkey can kick down a barn, but it takes a skilled carpenter to build one. Lou Marino, after almost 10 years, why is your party so completely void of any creativity and any solutions when it comes to healthcare? They've had almost a decade to work on this. All they did was complain. All they did was kick down, and you guys haven't built a thing. Why not?
Exactly, because they're too busy fighting with each other and not building togetherness and being bipartisan. And that's what we need, and that's how we're going to get this done. We can't do it bumping heads. I'm not there to solve that problem in the United States Senate, but they need the old-fashioned Italian smack in the back of the head to lighten themselves up and understand that it's not just a bull versus bull in the ring there. They have to come up with compromise, or else it's going to fail. The whole system's going to fail, not just healthcare.
Cindy, when the Democrats controlled the House, the Senate, and the presidency, they were able to get health care reform through. They took an idea, they worked with it, and they got it accomplished. Why is your
and look at
party?
the result.
Why is your party unable to accomplish anything?
Well, the Republican Party's clearly not together right now. There's Trump's getting it from everywhere. He's getting it. The Republicans are after him. The Democrats are after him. The media's after him.
Poor
That's
guy.
just not going to work.
Poor guy. Poor guy.
Whatever your thoughts and opinions on that, that's how it is. But the Democrats passed this bill, and clearly it's not a good bill. I mean, look at the problems that it's caused. So, I mean, to make it sound like the Democrats they're the heroes, they passed this bill, and look at what we got now, and the Republicans can't fix it. And it's like, well, neither side's got a great plan there, so it's time for them to work together.
Are more people,
and I don't care
are more
who's,
people insured now or more people insured before the
Well,
Affordable Care
you
Act?
can argue about that because
Well,
there's
not argue
people.
about it. Numbers are numbers. Are more
The
people
numbers are
insured or
numbers. They
less?
may be insured, but they can't afford to go to the doctors
Are
because of the
more or
copays.
less? Are more or less people insured?
Probably more people are insured, but they can't afford to go to the doctors. The copays are up there. The insurance premiums are sky high. Copays, deductibles. It's not what it was 10 years ago, even before. So yeah, you've insured people. What you did was you threw them into the Medicaid. All you did was expand Medicaid. We could have done that before and saved ourselves all this problem.
John?
But
Had we expanded Medicaid, things would have been a little bit better. This is clearly a shoehorn situation where we're trying to mimic the successes there without actually mimicking the successes in Medicare. What we've done is we introduced a bill similar to what we passed with Mitt Romney here in Massachusetts on a national level. It seemed to work here, so we scaled it up.
and that's where it should be at the state's level.
Well, the problem is that the first version of the bill didn't get passed, so we made concessions. Second version, all the way up to, I think it was the fifth version was the one that got passed, and even that was hotly contested, each time losing less and less of what made it work to begin with.
I mean, can we all agree that early detection is pennies compared to dollars on treatment? So we
Absolutely.
knew, okay, so we knew from the beginning going into this that if we start insuring a bunch of people, it's going to cost a lot of money at the beginning because now we're doing all the preventative treatments, we're doing the mammograms, we're doing the colonoscopies, we're doing all the blood work with, for no copays, and everyone's being covered in that. We know that was going to put a bubble in the cost, but we know that long term it's going to save us a ton of money. But it just seems that the for-profit insurance companies at this point are using this bubble that we knew was going to happen of inflated cost to tear the whole system down. We know long term it's going to save us a lot of money.
And the pharmaceutical industry, they have a hand in this as well.
Yeah,
If you don't rein them in, then,
$600 for EpiPens. It's like parents are taking their kid, reusing old expired EpiPens because they can't go out there and afford them.
politicians are bought and paid for by these insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies. I think that's what we got to get the money out of politics, and that's how you're going to fix this.
And
I don't know how that's going to happen.
Too bad the simplest answer is the answer, because I got news for you, and this is somebody who sees this as part of his real job when I'm not appearing as a celebrity on TV here. Medicare works well. Medicaid works okay. Works a heck of a lot better than a lot of the private insurance out there. Gee, imagine if everybody had that.
Medicare still has to be supplemented, though. So I mean, that's not the end all be all, And
150
Medicaid,
bucks a
all
month
we
they
did
pay
was
for
the
supplemental.
Medicaid expansion. That's what this is. There's got to be a better solution, and the only way you're going to get there is both sides to bite the bullet and just say, you know what? Neither one of us has the perfect plan, but together
you
we
say
can
both
do
sides, but your side controls everything. They don't need the
it.
Democrat.
No, I agree. It's just not happening.
Michael, they seem to be popping up everywhere these days. What do we call them? Rotaries, roundabouts, or traffic circles?
Call them whatever you want to call them. When they're the big,
I'll
huge
make a
ones,
decision.
when they're the big, huge ones in Concord, they don't work. When they're the nice little ones on Ashby State Road, they work. Whatever you want to call them, call
Well, what do you call them?
them. The rotaries.
Okay, Cindy.
Rotary.
I call it a go-around.
A go-around?
Go-around.
A go-around.
Oh, that's
Rotary.
Rotary.
What do
Of
you
course the
call 'em?
answer is rotary. We're from New England.
Yeah,
It's
of
rotary.
course it is.
Yes, it's
We're a little
rotary.
old-fashioned. Probably not as old-fashioned as you. You still call soda tonic?
No, I don't.
Or dinner supper?
I
You
do.
call it
I do.
supper?
I call
You
it
call it
supper.
supper?
Supper with the
You drive the
AH.
car around the
Supper.
rotary.
What's
She
for
calls
supper?
it supper.
I know
Cindy's
you
gonna
teased
go
me
have her
about that one
tonic
day.
and go over into web machine and.
Have my
Gin and
supper.
tonic.
All right. John Richard, Lou Marino, thank you very much for joining us for this episode of Flap TV. Join the discussion, Fitchburg-Leominster, All Politics on Facebook. Talk politics 24/7. Have a great day. Bye-bye.